mangina.
First thing, who are the manginas? Now, I haven't told you what the manginas are yet, okay? So you're just gonna have to guess for now. But I'm gonna tell you who they are. Very likely, you. Could be. I wouldn't rule it out, okay? Could be your friends. Yeah, the guy sitting next to you. Could be. I wouldn't rule it out. And possibly also men in your family. The mangina, first of all, believes in something. He believes in the power of women. How many of you believe in the power of women? Don't even, you're not going to put your hand up, are you? There we go. No, seriously, how many of you believe in the power of women? Because I've got my hand up here, okay? How many of you believe in the power of women? Okay, good. How many of you believe in the power of men? How many of you believe in the power of human beings? Good. Because you're going to need that rock-solid belief to get through the troubled waters I'm about to reveal. I'm going to perhaps take you into a little bit of a world that has been distorted. Do you understand what I'm saying? What we believe is right may actually be a distortion. You have to decide whether it is for you or not. The mangina believes that women are superior and therefore always right. How many of you believe what your mother told you? That's pretty much the default rule, isn't it? That's the default setting in the home. What your mother says is right. Which is so innocent and lovely, and you know, it sounds so wholesome. But if it's distorted, there are social problems, and we'll probably get into that. What the women say is right, yes, but the flip side is, therefore, what the men say is wrong. So what, in some families, what mother says is right, and father is wrong. Some families is like that. I won't ask you to put up your hands, but some families, absolutely, right? Not all families, some families. By the way, whether your family falls into that category or the other one, your family is dysfunctional, I'm telling you now. Every family is dysfunctional. Every single family. There's no such thing as the ideal family in Hollywood plot, but in real life, no, there's always dysfunctionality somewhere. And the sooner we admit that, the better, right? The mangina is the man that thinks that masculinity itself is wrong. Masculinity is wrong. Having manly desires is wrong. Does society tell us that manly desires are wrong? Pretty much does, doesn't it? It asks us to suppress our manly desires. Now, you might interpret manly desires a little differently from the next person, but you know what I mean. Manly desires, okay, I'll quickly define what a manly desire is. A manly desire is a desire for purpose in his life. That's a real manly desire. You might be thinking I'm talking about sex. That's also a manly desire. And you know what, men, if you have those desires, better get to grips with them, huh? Better acknowledge them, because they're real and they're not going to go away just because your church or your temple or whatever says don't think about those things. They're just not going to go away. That's the reality. So it's facing it, getting comfortable with it, and not letting those desires get the better of you. Because as a man, who's in control? You or your desires? Right? As a man, it should be you, not your desires. Okay. So they think masculinity is wrong. They're not comfortable with the idea that men have desires, that men have that men can be absolutely congruent with their desire. Now, do you know what congruency means? Congruency, just for those who are not so sure, congruency means what you feel, what you do, and what you say. These three things are perfectly aligned. That's congruency. When a person, or I speak to the men, when a man is able to do this, guess what? Real man. Simple as that. Real man. It's the ones that have the desires, but they behave not aligned, you know. And then they say things also not aligned with this. This one is creepy. You guys follow me? That's creepy. At least if a guy is straight talking with you, you know where he stands. But if he's all, you know, maybe he's all very nice to you, you know, actually he wants other things also. You know? Okay. So why is this a problem? I think we sort of hinted as to why this is a problem. Here's one reason. Women get away with bad behavior. Now women, hold on. Hold on. I'm going to tell the men the kind of bad behavior that they let you get away with. And I'm talking to not just single women, I'm talking to wives as well. And mothers as well. Now, women, you might be thinking, hey, what bad behavior do we do? We don't do bad behavior. Actually, you do. Women do these things to men. And they've been doing it now ever since the feminist thing has started. They will shame men. And they will be violent toward men. They will bully men. They will shame them and bully them and be violent towards them. Not necessarily all of those things, but the shaming one probably a lot of the time. Mothers, do you shame the boys? When I was like 8 or 9, I took a pencil and I started drawing, and I was quite good. So I drew the female form without clothes. I will never do that again. I was shamed to high heaven. I lost so much masculinity in that moment. But it's only looking back I can say that. It was frightening. Shame. And the second problem is that boys will never become real men if they don't get out of being the man. If they don't get out of being mommy's boy. When they don't become real men, guess what they then become? They become providers for you, women. Providers for you. And you know what? You expect them to provide for you. They're very happy providing for you. Why? Because the real world of real men scares them. Because they haven't got it in them. Well, they do, they just don't realize it. It's been shamed out of them, maybe. But the real world of real men that have real purpose and are making a difference in the world, to change the world, to make it a better place, in a way that only men can, women can do as well, but there's some things only a man can do. And when the boys do not become men emotionally, do not become the kind of strength and pillar of society that they could have become, there's a problem, right? It's a big problem. You'll see in a minute. Okay, what creates manginas? We'll do this one quickly. What creates manginas? Very quickly, I'm not going to explain how this works, but you can go and do your research. Dominant mothers, absent fathers. In other words, the male role model was weak. Okay? It's not the end of the world, but this is often how it happens. And society does this as well. Hollywood tells us, Hollywood shows us the sweet but bumbling man, and the woman who tells him to get his life together so that, they can live happily ever after. Right? That's what Hollywood tells us all the time. That's not real. But we create these things thinking that that's the ideal. Let the man be a man. Actually, men, you don't have to wait, no? You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait for the women's permission. Okay, so I'll deliver the bad news, and then that'll be it. Bad news, manginas are absolutely everywhere. Everywhere. I drove on the bridges now, surrounded by mangina. All give way to other people. Hey, hello, we all need to go somewhere. Yeah. This is a big problem. Manginas in leadership. The leader who is not controlled by his principles, but controlled by his wife. Big problem. Big problem, right? Big problem. He feels entitled, but he doesn't want the accountability. Because that's what manginas believe. They believe in entitlement without accountability. Guess what? Does he feel entitled to deposit the thing into his bank account?
No.
Personal bank account?
No.
He deposited it into his personal bank account, therefore he feels entitled, right? You can't say no to that. And now that we ask the questions, does he want to account for it? No. Malaysia's #1 mangina. Honestly, we need a real man to lead us, not a man who want a man like that. Oh, there's something even more interesting here. The existence of white knights. Very quickly, you might see yourself in this, guys. White knights and manginas, these are cousins. These are cousins. White knights will look for damsels in distress to rescue. Why? Okay, well, they have a gender. White knights. What is a white knight? The white knight is the guy who tries to rescue the girl from, guess what? The bad boys of the world. From the jerks. He feels it's his moral duty to save the girl from the jerks. Anyone ever feel like that? Has anyone felt like that before? Yeah. Yeah, I know, because I see it all the time. We rescue the girls from the bad boys. Why? Because we're morally good. Watch out, this is a distortion. Because he secretly wants what? He wants her for himself. That's what he wants. Guys, it's okay to be good to girls. It is okay. But the white knight is the one who has the agenda behind his action. Right? And that makes him a predator. Okay, there it is. How to spot a white knight? Very quickly. Displays of chivalry. He's the gentleman. And girls, you're thinking, hey, but that's the kind of guy I want. Watch out. Watch out. He displays the chivalry. He's a gentleman. In order to get something that he wants, whether it's get you into bed or whatever, all right? He has an agenda. Watch out. At least the jerk tells you what he wants from you. You know, and then you know. Why is Will laughing so loud here?
Probably one of them.
So the white knight, he is driven by a moral belief. A moral belief that his goodness and niceness is morally sound. And therefore he has a duty. And he will justify his behavior that way. And he will call the jerks, and he will hate the jerks, he will judge them to high heaven. But at the end of the day, at least the jerk, you know what you get. Okay, anyway, very quickly, the forum is trying to meet every Monday night. And the next one is this coming Monday. And the topic is going to be how to get from, wait for it, attraction to seduction. To understand the difference between these two, and to understand the process.